I grew up in Windsor Forest, St. David's, Grenada. So I grew up one of 10 brothers and sisters, extremely poor. So I went to St. David's Sec, and I finished high school, but I never graduated because I was like one of those stubborn kids. I was bad, as they would say. Bad in a good kind of way, in a way where you know what you want, and it didn't really matter for me what anybody said. I knew what I wanted. I knew my dreams, and being stubborn, I guess, has got me where I am today. And so I left home when I was maybe around 16, and part of me being able to graduate high school was meaning I had to go back home. And I didn't feel as if at the time home was the best place for me to study, to get my CXC subjects and stuff. So I left, and this decision I made, and I don't regret it. So I never got to graduate, but I get to write my exam and got my subjects, and was happy about it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your experience at school at St. David's.
It was a good experience. I was kind of one of the popular girls. I had like my clique of friends. I had my crew. We got in trouble, but I was like, at the end, I was like a really good kid, even if my friends were doing bad stuff, I wasn't involved in any of the stuff, like the sex, the drugs, or any of the stuff, because I grew up like in a Christian home. So we go to church and stuff, and my mom was extremely strict. So I wasn't allowed to go to like the school parties and the fairs or have boyfriends or any of this kind of stuff. And that was cool. But yeah, I had a group of friends, and it was probably one of the best experiences of my life growing up in Grenada and going to school there.
Right.
I don't know, Miss Denise Williams. She was my, I did track and field too when I was in Grenada. And she was my food and nutrition teacher. Taught me how to cook, so I can finally, make a good meal for my husband. And there was Mr. Lazarus, who was my principal of business teacher, who supported me. And I think between these two teachers, they've actually really molded and, changed my life. And there was also one teacher, I think her name was Miss Grave Sandy or something like that, and she would always say, when you didn't do your homework, it's better to try and fail than fail to try. And so this has always stayed with me for all my entire life. So that's why I never don't do anything. I always would try it, even if I would suck at it and I will fail at it or be terrible at it. I always would do it. So I moved here when I was 18. No money, not one penny. I remember leaving the airport in Grenada. They had like the 2 stories, and where you will wave goodbye to people. You walk up. It's not there anymore.
The welcome center.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. I remember I was saying to my mom, I'm so hungry, and she had no food to give me or anything, and she said, don't worry, they'll feed you on the plane. You get a nice meal on the plane, and I waited and I waited, and I'm like, what, I'm going to fall asleep. The moment I fell asleep is when they served the food. I woke up, guess what? No food. And I'm like, oh, great. Just my luck, right? So, like I said, I moved here just, with a piece of, like a CXC certificate, and that was it. And I was allowed, I think at the time, 50 pounds. My suitcase weighed about 10. And I had no clothes or anything to fill it, whatever. Most of the weight probably, was probably the suitcase anyways. And it was a struggle because you live here, like I didn't know a lot of people. I didn't know my dad really, because my dad's been gone at the time, 15, 16 years. He left when I was way big, and now I'm like, 18 years old, I'm an adult. So it was a very hard transition. I never really worked a day in my life in Grenada. So coming here is just like, you have to go to work. And I did the odd jobs like babysitting, and I was terrible at that. And
But you had 9 brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I know. I was number 3, and I was the first girl, and but it's okay.
Mommy number 2.
I know, but it was okay being, looking after my siblings. But when you come here and you have the expectations are so different than just feeding your brothers and sisters, or washing them or doing some cornrows in their head. It was kind of like different. So I didn't I didn't last anywhere long. Like it was just like, oh my God. And I would do the living stuff and live in the cold basements, and I just hated it. And then after a week or two, I'll call my dad crying, please come get me. And then he'll say like, you're a loser, you will be nothing, look at you, you know. And he threatened to send me back to Grenada after a while just because, you know, I couldn't get my act together. And so I told him, you know, just give me a couple months, you know, I'm going to figure it out. And if not, I'm going to run away. He's like, where are you going to go? I know I'm going somewhere. I know I'm not going back to Grenada. The goal was never, when you come here, it was never to go back to Grenada. It was always for me to make a life here. So I said, give me a couple months, you know, I'll try to figure something out. And I got a job in a warehouse, illegal cash money, and, you know, just kind of like work my way up. And I realized like once I started doing that, that I liked that kind of warehouse kind of environment, but I didn't want to always be one of those people like, you know, factory worker, warehouse worker. So for me, it's tough because you look at yourself like, you know, you're black, you're female, and you really don't have any education, like high school education. Like, what is that now? Nobody really, that don't really count. That's just basic, right? And so for me, I knew I wanted more for my life, and I knew like I had so much potential. I grew up in Grenada. I knew how to hustle. I knew, you know, how to wash for, you know, for money, how to, you know, I would sell fudge and, you know, make $1. I would do cornrows and get paid. So I knew that, you know, I had to be better. And not only that, I knew that there's people back home who was, you know, at the end of the day looking, oh my God, is she going to send anything back? Right? And when you get to be like the chosen one, to get an opportunity out of like 10 people to come here, you really can't mess it up. There's a lot on your shoulder. And so I knew, okay, well, I can work in the warehouse and make minimum wage, or I can like, you know, start trying to do different things with my life. So I bought a computer and I started teaching myself how to use Word and Excel. And then eventually I got my papers, and I went on unemployment, and they told me about this job creation program where you get to be on unemployment and you go 6 months and they'll train you. And so I wanted to make the transition from being in the warehouse to being in the office. And I did that for 6 months. And after 6 months, the company, they hired me. And I did it for another 6 months. But again, just being black and being female, I was taken advantage of. But I knew I had to stick it out for at least get 1 year experience under my belt. So what I did after the extra 6 months, I told them I was going to Grenada. I took 3 weeks. I went to Grenada. I came back, and I just told them like, sorry, I'm not coming back, because the job that I was doing, they were paying somebody previous to me $16 an hour at the time, but they were only paying me $10. Yeah, because again, I was black, and you know. So after that, I went to Grenada. I came back, and I applied at this company as a logistics clerk, because now I had a year and I had computer experience, so I could do it. And I went in, got an interview, and it was a nice white lady. She said, okay, she hired me on a Friday, and she said, you start on Monday. And it was an afternoon shift. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm happy. And I was going to get paid $16 an hour to start. And I'm like, yeah, I get to where I want to be. And it was like just about the blackout time. So I went in on the Monday, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here to see Penny. Well, Penny's no longer here. We fired her. Wow. So as soon as Penny hired me, within a few hours, Penny got fired. Yeah.
Wow.
I was, like I said, I was, passed upon an opportunity at work as a sales manager. And that was the next move in my career. And, I wasn't given the position, they fight me down, run me down. Like, she's black, she's not good enough, she don't speak proper English, you can put her in front of customers. She's just meant to be in the back in the warehouse and do, running the show in the background. And I went to Grenada, and not only I went there to kind of reflect. Yeah. I go to reflect, but I also went to donate, to give back. And I go home because sometimes, you see those people on the markets, and I didn't tell you this, but when I was there in March, I saw this person selling juice in a bag, And I look at him in a white bucket.
Yeah.
And I look at my sister and I said, oh, who's going to buy this? And my sister was like, you'll be surprised. And I'm like, no way. And she's like, well, you know what? Walk back. And it was about within 2 hours, all of it was gone.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of inspiring to see like these people have nothing and they wake up and they put like water, juice in a bag and try to sell it. And I'm like, why am I here trying to fight about somebody's company when, I know the hustle. I hustle on my life, so might as well do something for myself. So I got some money and, was looking around for the perfect business. And I came across Cold Paper. Cold Paper has been in business for the last 82 years. It's a family business, one of the oldest business in Toronto in the Junction at the time. For Cold Paper, what we do custom boxes, shipping supplies, moving boxes, anything to do with shipping and distribution of how you want your goods sent. That's what we do. I remember one time we went on a hike to, I think it was Mount Camel Waterfalls. Yeah. And that was like, we took the whole day and it was probably with Miss Williams. It was one of like, I never forget that memory ever. And it was so much fun. When it was raining, we were all dirty and we got to the falls finally. And yeah, it was, I think just growing up and going to school and just having a normal childhood and just being a kid and laughter and fun and playing and all that good stuff. Challenge yourself. Don't let anyone tell you you're supposed to be this or that. Be who you are. Just keep pushing. Know who you are. Know what your goals and your dreams are. And inspire to be who you want to be and what you want to be. Don't listen to people and say you should be this or that. Just be who you want to be. Work hard. Stay focused. Make those goals, push through. Every day is not going to be a good day. You are going to have some good days and some bad days, but know at the end, success will come. Nothing come easy. Anything that's good and, you have to fight for something. So you just have to keep working, keep pushing, and keep challenging yourself. And don't get comfortable. Anytime you get comfortable, you're settled. Never settle. Like that feeling of being uncomfortable. It pushes you, makes you want to be a better person and work harder. I am Charlyn Asher, the CEO and president of Cold Paper, division of Asher Industries Inc., and I am Grenadian.